The politics of Fiji take place within the framework of a parliamentary representative democratic republic. Fiji has a multi-party system with the Prime Minister of Fiji as head of government. The executive power is exercised by the government. Legislative power is vested in both the government and the Parliament of Fiji. The judiciary is mostly independent of the executive and the legislature. Following the 2006 Fijian coup d'etat, the power was subsumed by the military. Nominal head of state Ratu Josefa Iloilo abrogated the constitution of Fiji and dismissed all courts. After the Court of Appeal ruled that the post-coup Bainimarama government was illegal, a new constitution was promulgated in September 2013, and a general election was held in September 2014, won by Bainimarama's Fiji First Party. The Economist Intelligence Unit rated Fiji as a hybrid regime in 2018. Fiji's head of state is the president. He is elected by Parliament of Fiji after nomination by the Prime Minister or the leader of the opposition, for a 3-year term, although his role is largely an honorary one, modelled after that of the British monarchy. The president has certain reserve powers that may be used in the event of a national crisis. In practice, attempts by the president to assert the reserve powers have proved problematic. In 2000, in the midst of a civilian coup d'etat against the elected government, President Ratu Serkamisis Mara announced on the 27th of May that he was assuming executive authority, but was evidently forced to resign 2 days later by the military commander, Commodore Frank Bainimarama. The president is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Actual executive power is in the hands of the cabinet, presided over by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is elected by Parliament, under the 2013 Constitution of Fiji, under the former constitution, which was abrogated at the behest of the military-backed interim government in 2009. The Prime Minister was formally appointed by the President, but had to be acceptable to a majority of the House of Representatives. In practice, this usually reduced the President's role to little more than a formality, with the position automatically going to the leader of the political party or coalition that controlled a majority of seats. There were times, however, when there was no clear majority in the House of Representatives. The parliamentary election of 1992 was inconclusive, and the position of the largest party, the Sokozoko ni Wakavulewa ni Toke, was further undermined by subsequent defections. On such occasions, the president had to take on the role of an arbitrator. After consulting with all the parliamentary factions, he would appoint as Prime Minister the person he judged to be the most acceptable to the majority in the House of Representatives. If no such person could be found, the president was required to order a new election. Another situation requiring presidential intervention arose following the 1999 election. The People's Coalition won a landslide victory, with the largest party in the coalition, the Fiji Labour Party, winning a majority in its own right. Some of the smaller parties in the coalition expressed unease at the prospect of Mahendra Chaudhry, the Labour Party leader and an Indo-Fijian, becoming Prime Minister, saying that he would be unacceptable to indigenous Fijian voters that they represented. President Mara, however, persuaded them to accept Chaudhry as Prime Minister. The cabinet, consisting of around 10 to 25 ministers, is formally appointed by the President on the nomination of the Prime Minister. According to the former 1997 Constitution, the cabinet was supposed to reflect the political composition of the House of Representatives, with every party holding more than 8 seats in the House entitled to proportionate representation in the cabinet. In practice, this rule was never strictly implemented. In 1999, Chaudhry refused to give ministerial posts to the Sokozoko ni Wakavulewa ni Toke, saying that its demands were unacceptable. From 2001 to 2004, Prime Minister Laisenia Karasi, whose coalition dominated by his Sokozoko Duawata ni Luanivanwa had narrowly won the 2001 election, refused to include the Fiji Labour Party in his cabinet, and avoided implementing several subsequent Supreme Court verdicts ordering him to do so by appealing each successive verdict, until the Labour Party announced late in 2004 that it was no longer interested in joining the cabinet. Under the 2013 constitution, the cabinet is no longer required to reflect the political composition of parliament. Under the 2013 constitution, Fiji's parliament is unicameral. Its 50 members are elected for 4-year terms by party list proportional representation, with the entire country voting as a single constituency. To win election to parliament, a political party must win 5% of the total valid vote nationwide. Fiji's system differs from that of many